Ladies and gentlemen, I have had a shitty day thus far. I really have. You barely ever hear me swear, and there's a very good reason for that. But in this case, I need to blow off some steam by killing all sons of bitches. You want to know how I'm going to do that? Quite simple. Welcome to Mafia 2. This is the demo, ladies and gentlemen. This came out yesterday. I'd like to do a full run-through. I'd like to explain various aspects of the game and give you an insight into the mechanics. In the meantime, watch this fantastic cutscene.
This the guy?
Yeah, this is Vito, an old friend.
Good to meet you, Henry. You vouch for him?
Absolutely, Henry. Trust him with my life.
So, Henry, what kind of job we talking about here?
I gotta take a guy out. It's my contract, but I need some help. That's where you two come in.
Who's the lucky guy?
Some fat fuck from across the river. The guy's been warned, but he thinks he's untouchable. Okay, Joe and me will go to the apartment. It's in Sand Island, the building across from the distillery. Apartment 233.
Okay, apartment 233. Got it. I'll meet you fellas there in a bit.
All right, see you later.
Now, I saw at the start that it said the demo was made specially, so you're not going to be seeing this in the final game. At least we're honest about that, but bear in mind this could have been custom made and it won't necessarily reflect the final quality of the product. Mafia 2 set between 1945 and 1955, so that's a little bit later than the original game.
Hello?
Hey, we're all set. Meet us over at the apartment.
Yeah, right. I'm leaving now. You got the package?
What do you think? Henry's setting it up now. Get your ass moving. That fat fuck could show up any minute.
All right, I'll see you in a bit.
The game doesn't pull any punches in terms of violence and language, but it does have this great, authentic, sort of 40s to 50s style going to it. A lot of really great music playing. Seems to be a little bit more freedom than the original game, whereby the open city segments, they were a little bit incidental. In this, it's a little bit more Grand Theft Auto 4 style. Now, we could go and get one of our own cars. Alternatively, we could steal this one. First things first, I'm going to drive around, and you get about 10 minutes to drive around the city. And I assume there are limits to the city, but I never actually found them. But whatever the case, we're looking to see what the driving mechanics are like and what happens when we start causing trouble. Conveniently, there's a cop right there, so let's go. Now, my first impression of these driving mechanics were, oh god, I can't drive this worth a damn. Now, I'd heard in the previews that there were two modes of driving. One was arcadey, sort of normal, as they call it, and the other one was simulation. I thought this was set to simulation, like, oh god, I don't know what I'm doing. Bear in mind, I'm playing this on a PC, so I imagine it would be better with an analog stick as opposed to with the keyboard. But the shooting, I imagine, is much better with the mouse and keyboard, one would think. Nice physics on the cars nonetheless. Big fan of the soundtrack in the background, no question about that. Oh god, a wall. Right, okay, we might have screwed that up just a little bit. There are some parts of the environment that are destructible. As you'll see later, you can shoot pillars and you'll be able to shoot parts of the pillar out. You can do quite a bit of damage to the surrounding scenery as well. Now let's try and set it to simulation. There we go. Driving mode normal, driving mode simulation. So that was the arcadey mode, and I was pretty surprised by that. This is the simulation mode. And you'll note that the car fishtails way more. I didn't even deliberately do that. They are pissed. Now, in the bottom right, it will tell you exactly just how pissed they are. In this case, they will use firearms, they'll use pistols to try and bring you down. And it does hurt a bit. You do have regenerating health. You can't take all that many hits, though. Now, I believe I do have a gun. There we go. So, we can test out the shooting mechanics. Thankfully, these guys are even worse shots than I am. Accuracy is fairly good with the pistol, honestly, from this distance. Not too much of a problem getting headshots. Enemies tend to go down quite quickly. Might be time to leave. Okay, we're on 4 stars now, so they will go after you with Tommy guns, which is generally very unpleasant. We'll try and get out with this, assuming I can drive it in a straight line. Damage done to the cars does affect the handling, as you would imagine. And god, they skid. They really do. I think I only applied a tiny bit of handbrake there and end up spinning all the way out of control. Yeah, they're locked on me with a Tommy gun now. I'm totally boned. Unquestionably. Car AI is pretty good in terms of the police. They do not mess around. Okay. Right, so I've showed you just driving around the city, so let's actually get to our destination and do the level. There are a few other things you can do in your house. One of them is to change your clothes. You can buy various outfits. They don't seem to serve a practical purpose as far as I can tell within the demo. But you can buy them anyway. Particular fan of the lighting effects. The actual graphics on this, as you can tell, I'm running this at 720p simply because it's more convenient to fraps it that way and it doesn't take forever to upload. I'll tell you about the performance towards the end of it. I did run a benchmark just to check. Ah, excellent. I have a suit. That's important. I make this look good, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Okay, this time we should probably take one of our cars. You can keep whatever cars you've got in the actual garage itself. Shouldn't be a problem for you. I mean, it's the same kind of thing that you've got in Grand Theft Auto. You can keep multiple vehicles. It starts us off with 3. I imagine in the game you don't start with all of these 3. You can actually keep 10 vehicles. That's one big garage. There we go. Thunderbolt, that looks good. More brake horsepower, nice and quick. There we go. There are a couple of radio stations here that you can check out. A lot of very period-specific music, as you might imagine. This one's a lot quicker than the one I stole. Gonna have to be a little bit more careful. I don't really want the police running after me with Tommy guns this time around. Oh, dear God. Yeah, just no. Simulation driving on a keyboard? Absolutely not. And controls-wise so far, I should probably tell you a little bit about the shooting. You'll see a lot more of that later on, and if you hadn't already guessed, there's going to be some violence. The driving is about what you'd expect. It's not as ridiculous as Grand Theft Auto 4. I had real problems driving with the keyboard there. Much better on an analog stick using a 360 pad. In this case, it's okay. It's about as good as you're going to get with a keyboard. I mean, if you play driving sections in any game with a keyboard, you're in for trouble one way or the other. Digital steering just doesn't work, especially not in modern games. Whatever the case, it works fairly well. You can see I can weave in and out of traffic without going off the bridge or killing anybody. Well, maybe. Move out the way! Come on! Thank you. View distance is fairly reasonable across the board as well. I mean, honestly, in terms of the graphics, I'm pretty impressed across the board. This is a sequel to a game which had, in my opinion, for the time, probably the best facial textures and animation I've ever seen. I recall a scene where your character first sort of moseyed into a diner and shuffled into a seat, and I've never seen animation and actual texture work like that. Not at the time, anyway. It's been surpassed by now, but the sequel's doing fairly well in terms of following up on that. Now, there are a few shops around the place. You can go to the clothing shop, buy extra suits and things. You start off with a ton of money, so you can buy whatever you want, but I don't think I'm going to find anything better in the demo than this style and suit. So I'm just going to stick with what I've got right now. It doesn't say if this does anything. I know clothing and say The Godfather gave you bonuses on various aspects. I don't think that happens here. Then again, The Godfather had a few RPG elements mixed into it, and I don't think this game does in any way. Handbrake turns are fairly simple. Much easier on a stick. Now, there was a gun shop here that we passed earlier, so let's see if we can go and get some hardware. There we go. Oddly enough, you pull your gun out, and anyone that's around that has a gun will also pull their gun out. You point it at them, and they will threaten you. The beady-eyed amongst you might notice a Playboy magazine there. You can actually pick them up, and they do have actual scans of original vintage Playboy in there. No, I can't show it on YouTube. You can download the demo and see for yourself if you want a single image from Playboy of, like, 1955. Shotgun, that'll sort us out. Get an ammo for it as well. We don't really need the concealable special. We've got a 1911, so that should be fine. Okay, sorted out. No, you might have, but I'm fairly sure you're not bulletproof, so that shouldn't be too much of a factor. Oh dear. Probably shouldn't have run out of there with the shotgun. Should have put it away. Never mind. Should be able to get away from them without too much of a problem, he says as he drives into a wall and or lamppost. Now, at start 2, they're trying to arrest you, so they'll try and box you in and put you in cuffs. They won't shoot at you yet, but if I do anything else, then I'm going to get them to that point. Police pursuit in this game is pretty dogged. They won't just leave you alone, but then you can still get away from them as long as you know what you're doing. Unfortunately, I have no idea what I'm doing. There we go. Hey, see? Now I'm sort of doing it right, I guess. That was deliberate, honestly. I wasn't just bashing buttons at random. There we go. Misery Lane, how apt. See about inflicting it on somebody. I'm very impressed with the quality of the engine right here, and this is the engine. This is not pre-rendered as far as I can tell.
Where you from, Henry?
Sicily.
What brought you to the States?
Mussolini.
We buy you a ticket.
Don't be a smart-ass, Joe. My father was, a man of honor. Things got pretty bad for us after Mussolini came into power. My old man figured I'd either get drafted or locked up. So, he sent me to America and got me a job working for Clementi.
So what happened to your father?
He said he was too old to make the trip. Mussolini had him arrested, and he died in jail. They won't even turn his body over for a proper burial.
That's rough.
So how's your English so good?
They're coming. Those black cars. Vito, aim for the fat bastard. We gotta nail him before he gets in the building. Get ready.
All right, I'm on it.
They got
All right,
guns.
showtime.
They got guns up there in that window.
Ladies and gentlemen, the obligatory turret section. It's gonna be in every shooter these days, every time. This one's pretty fun though. Then you get to blow cars up, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Stop shooting that fucking thing. I'm going deaf over here.
Oh, where's the fun in that, you big baby? At least I brought the shotty along, that will be helpful. Nice animation work there that you saw with the pre-scripted fight. Animation work, honestly, is fairly solid across the board as far as I can tell. I'm still hesitant to say that this is going to be a great game based on the demo, because you could put together a good half-an-hour demo for marketing purposes and the rest of the game could suck ass. But in this case, it is promising. And one of the things that I do really like is that the guns feel nice and powerful and they're responsive. Most importantly, it doesn't suffer from the things that have been plaguing a lot of recent multi-format releases. This game's coming out on 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. I'm playing the PC version, and the controls are tight, and I'm not seeing any mouse acceleration or nonsense or anything like that. No Alpha Protocol, no Borderlands, or any nonsense like that here. It's nice and tight. Accuracy is good as well, so let's use the Colt for the rest of it. You'll notice the damage to the pillars there, sort of Max Payne style. That's caused by direct fire, although it's a little bit dodgy. You'll notice some of the aiming is a little bit off there. I mean, I would have thought I should have got him. I'm not getting a red reticule there, but I got a couple of shots off with a red reticule right over his head and I didn't hit him. That's not the first example of that. You'll see a couple in a minute. It seems to be to do with the cover system, honestly. Like, the cover system doesn't correctly detect where exactly the guys are. Thankfully, it wasn't in cover there, so that's a non-issue. Get the hell out of there. It's a little shaky, honestly. Sometimes, like what I'm about to show you, it works perfectly fine. No problem at all there. Popped out of cover, popped him in the head, no problem at all. But there are other times when it doesn't. Needs a little bit of tightening up as far as I'm concerned. That said, I am using a pistol. If I was using a Tommy gun, I could probably just chew through that pillar. There we go. We can get him in the side there, no problem at all. Sound assets, as you can tell, are very good indeed. Nice and meaty, big booms on the actual guns themselves. And my only concern up to now, really, is that it seems to be just a generic cover shooter, but set in 1945 to 1955.
We gotta move.
I mean, cover mechanics have been the rage for the last couple of years, without question. I remember when they first came in with the title Kill Switch. Most people probably don't remember that one. Accuracy's good there as well. No problems with cover there because he wasn't actually in cover. But I suppose what's going to carry this is the aesthetic and the plot as opposed to any genuine innovation. Not everything has to be unique and amazingly creative in order to justify it being created to begin with. Okay, out you come. There you go. Patience, patience. In this game, clips run out fairly fast, so waiting for someone to reload and then pop out is a good strategy. A little bit of a slide into cover there, which wasn't actually where I wanted to go. I wanted to go on the pillar, but I never got the chance. Sticky cover might need a little bit of work. Okay, bring you down. Is that guy insulting me? Because I'm not having that. There we go.
Okay, hit the button, Vito.
Why can't you hit the button? Why do I have to be the guy that hits the button?
What the hell are you doing, Joe?
What? Thirsty. Pretty good stuff. We should try it.
Drinking on the job, huh? When'd you turn Irish?
And this is the demo's obligatory fuck you moment. Oh look, they've got Tommy guns on the other side, and there's nowhere to go! Should have run straight to the cover, of course, didn't do that. Now dead. Krats. Oh dear. Note to self, they will have a bullshit game mechanic. Avoid the bullshit game mechanic. There we go.
Shit, there's an army of them.
Yes, there is.
Joe, do something. You can't just fucking sit
You see, grenades or Molotov cocktails here would be very handy. Thankfully, I've got dead-eye aim with a Colt from this distance, so it's really a non-issue. Yeah, here's the this is what I was talking about right here. Even though you've clearly got sight on him, the reticule isn't turning red, so you can't get jack out of it. Eventually, you can take him down. Do a little bit of damage to the pillar there just to demonstrate that you can. I swear they're not the best concrete pillars if a couple of Colt bullets will take great gaping holes out of them. Aha, that's what we're talking about. Kind of a proper gangster game if we don't have one of these. Thompson 1928. Submachine gun. A little bit of spray and pray involved in that. As you can see, it's got a nice kick to it. Very satisfying. It's nice when you're given a weapon that isn't like a freaking laser rifle or a railgun. Can do without that. Now, one problem I do have with this is it doesn't have a blind fire system, which seems to me, if you're going to embrace the cover mechanics, especially with big automatic weapons like this, you should have a blind fire system. It would have been ideal in that situation, I just didn't have that option.
Don't kill me! Please! I got a wife!
You should have thought about your wife before.
You want? Just don't kill me! Oh, for Christ's sake!
Don Clemente sends his regards. Oh! Fuck!
Fuck you! Sorry, you fuck! Henry, you okay?
Hey.
Where'd he hit
Of
you?
course I'm not fucking okay. He shot me in the fucking leg!
Oh, yeah, it's bleeding all
Son
over
of
the place.
a... Get me to El Greco.
The fucking painter?
No, the fucking doctor,
Okay,
you
take it
idiot.
easy. We're gonna get you there in a minute.
The Greek guy lives up in
All right,
Highbrook.
let's get you to the car.
Oh, Marano, you're heavier than you look.
I can't help but be, well, one, impressed by the production values across the board. Graphics, animation, voice acting particularly. And then a little bit cynical because this is a demo. And it could have been polished up to a mirror shine just to sell the game. Nonetheless, it's difficult not to be impressed, and you have to hope that they'll manage to keep up this level of quality or even surpass it in the final product. What I will say about graphical performance is that when I benchmarked this, I benchmarked it at 2560 by 1600, and my specs you can find on my channel page, youtube.com/totalhalibut. I ran the whole thing on high detail with AA and anisotropic filtering enabled. Anisotropic filtering was set at 4, AA was set at on, which is kind of weird. It's nice that they've got an option in there, but on and off, I don't think they really understand how AA is supposed to work. But whatever the case, Fraps never dropped below 30 FPS as far as I could tell, which is what it was frame capped at, and the 2560x1600 benchmark was running at about an average of 45 frames per second, which is pretty solid. Never dropped below 30 there either. Obviously, this is being recorded at half that resolution, at 1280x720, for the purposes of YouTube. But whatever the case, I reckon that at, say, 1080p on my system, it's gonna be set at 60. And that's good. You know, that's the kind of figure that you want for a previous generation, fairly high-powered machine. It seems to be well optimized, which is something that apparently the 360 version is not. There's been a lot of people complaining about frame drop and all sorts of stutter and nonsense within the 360 demo. I'm thankful to see that the PC version is a lot better.
Ah, fuck.
And now for the getaway, which involves me driving. That's never a good thing.
Pal, it's just a scratch.
Nah, we didn't need that fence anyway.
We'll all go out and celebrate.
No.
Now, you see at the bottom there, you've got a sort of GPS navigation thing. Best to follow it. Most of the time. I couldn't even turn the corner without spinning out. And my car's not even in that bad a state. Okay. Quit with the bloody whining. Right, so they're on level 3 here, so they will fire at you with pistols. Which is not too good. The car can take a fair pounding, but bear in mind it can also hurt you as well. Now, one of the things I really hate about modern games is the fact that they refuse to have a health bar. Oh, the immersion. Yeah, my immersion is fine, but look at what you've got. You've got a freaking GPS in a 1945 mob simulator. Don't be ridiculous. A life bar would be nice. I'd like to know just how much margin for error I've got as opposed to some kind of random indication of blood splats and faded red on the screen. That doesn't mean anything. I don't know how wounded I am here. It's pointless. Well, at least I'm on a straight bit of... Never mind. Try it again. Now that I'm on a straight bit of road, and why is it that everyone has freaking guns here? I mean, come on. I just ran into some civilian, he opens up on me. I think he's got a bigger gun than the police do. Oh, this isn't going to work out too well, is it? Okay. We're coming towards the end of the demo, as you can tell.
Vito, just fucking drive.
Take it for once.
Vehicle immediately, or we will open fire.
Take it easy, will you, Henry? Relax. It's under control.
I got a hole in my leg the size of a fucking golf ball, and you're telling me to relax?
You're gonna have a hole in your head pretty soon if we don't get out of this. Vito, do
Fuck the
something
cops! Get me to a doctor now!
And there you have it, ladies and gents. Here's my conclusion on that one. Pretty damn impressive across the board. Great production values. Seems to be a well-optimized port, which I definitely appreciate as a PC gamer. What I will say is, driving on the keyboard is a nightmare, but there's really nothing they could do about that. It'll be much better on a gamepad in that regard, and some of the shooting and cover mechanics need a little bit of work. They're still a bit janky in places. The game does smack of generic a bit, but I think the setting can carry it in that regard and can make it an enjoyable narrative experience. Plus, hey, the guns feel great, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, folks, I'm about done, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the trailer that they put at the end of this with some great footage. My name's been Totalbiscuit. I'll see you next time.
Boom, boom, boom. When you pull this off, I won't forget it. Trust me.
Gonna shoot you right down, right off of your feet.
Not too many guys got the stomach for this line of work. We need guys like you.
Take you home with me. Put you in my house.
My new friend, Vito Scaletta.
Oh, baby, I love you, baby.
Where'd you get all this money, Vito?
Yeah, yes, baby. Shake it,
Started
baby.
the fucking war.
Shake it, baby. Shake it, baby. One time.
About time you showed up. These guys ain't cops. The working man's a sucker, that's for damn sure.
You said it.
Oh, yeah. Well, come on home to me, baby.